Eli Turner stood beneath the grey sky, soaked in both rain and exhaustion. The foreman's vest clung to his chest, and his fingers trembled as he stared at the unfinished wall before him. Just like his life, half-built and falling apart. He used to love the smell of sawdust, the sound of teamwork, the satisfaction of something created from nothing. But lately, all he could think about was the stack of bills on his kitchen table, and the little girl waiting at home who deserved so much more. That morning, his boss had called him into the trailer. "Eli, I've got to cut a few guys. You've been great, but you know how it is." He didn't argue. He didn't even look up. He just nodded, walked out, and kept his voice steady until he reached his truck. Then he broke. He slammed his hand against the steering wheel, once, twice, until the horn blared and his chest burned. All his pride gone. He'd promised his daughter, Grace, a new backpack for school, promised he'd fix the heater, promised he'd try. But promises don't pay rent. That night, the rain hadn't stopped. Inside their small home, Grace was drawing at the kitchen table. Crayons scattered everywhere, a smiley sun on her paper even though thunder rolled outside. "Daddy," she said, holding it up, "that's us. You and me at the park." Eli forced a smile. "That's beautiful, baby." But when she went to bed, he sat in silence, staring at the eviction notice folded neatly beside a photo of his late wife. Cancer took her 3 years ago, and sometimes it felt like it took his faith with her. The next morning, Eli packed his tools into an old metal box. He wasn't sure why. Habit, maybe. Or hope. Outside, his neighbor, Mr. Hayes, was sitting on the porch, as usual, feeding the stray cats. "You look like a man with too much on his shoulders," the old man said, without looking up. Eli sighed. "Feels like the whole world's there." Mr. Hayes nodded slowly. "You know, my boy used to say that before he shipped out." Eli didn't ask what happened. Everyone in town knew. Hayes' son never came back. The old man leaned forward. "But you know what I told him? The world only feels heavy when you forget what's worth carrying." Eli just stared. He didn't understand what that meant. Not yet. Days turned into weeks. No calls back. No jobs. Just silence and rain. One evening, Eli walked down to the diner where his wife used to work. He hadn't been there in months. The waitress, Marie, recognized him instantly. "Eli Turner. It's been forever." He smiled faintly, sitting at the counter. "Yeah, feels like forever." She poured him coffee. "You look tired." He nodded. "Just figuring life out. Don't we all?" she said with a laugh. He sipped the coffee. Bitter and warm. Something about it reminded him of his wife's hands, the way she'd hand him his thermos every morning before he left for work. He blinked fast, fighting the sting behind his eyes. Then he heard laughter from a nearby booth. A young man, maybe 20, was showing photos on his phone to his friends. "Got the job, man. Finally. I told my mom I wouldn't give up." Eli's hand froze on the cup. Those words hit like a brick. "I told my mom I wouldn't give up." He stared at his reflection in the coffee. When did he start believing he had nothing left to give? That night, he found Grace asleep on the couch, clutching her sketchbook. He flipped through it quietly, page after page of drawings. One caught his eye. It was him, standing tall beside a building. Above it, she'd written, "Daddy builds things that make people safe." He broke again, but this time, it wasn't anger. It was something softer. He whispered, "Maybe I can still build something." The next morning, Eli woke up before dawn. He grabbed his tools, loaded his truck, and drove to the old playground near the church, the one that had been broken for years. He started working, alone. No pay, just purpose. Hours passed. Mr. Hayes showed up with 2 thermoses of coffee. "You fixing the town, son?" Eli smiled faintly. trying to fix what I can. Word spread fast. By afternoon, 2 other men from his old crew joined. Then a few teenagers. Even Marie from the diner brought sandwiches. By sunset, the laughter of children echoed across the small park again. And for the first time in a long time, Eli felt something deep in his chest. Not pride, but peace. Weeks later, the town council offered him a new contract to rebuild community spaces. He didn't see it coming, but maybe life rewards those who show up, even when no one's watching. That evening, as he and Grace stood by the new playground, she looked up at him and said, "Daddy, did you build all this?" He smiled, eyes glistening in the orange glow of dusk. "Yeah, baby, but I had some help." She nodded, holding his hand. Mommy would be proud. Eli didn't speak. He just squeezed her hand tighter. In that moment, he realized the world hadn't gotten lighter. He just remembered what was worth carrying. Even when everything falls apart, rebuild. Because purpose begins the moment you refuse to give up. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs a little hope today. And if you believe in stories that heal, inspire, and remind us we're never alone, follow I Spire Stories for more.